Hello YouTube, this is Morgan, Airspeed Prime here with my next YouTube video, and this is going to be the first in a new series of videos. It's going to be Transformers Prime Beast Hunters episode reviews. I'm going to kind of do these in the same way that I do the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles episode reviews, but obviously this is a Transformers show, Transformers Prime. And I'll start off with a brief introduction. Transformers is probably my second fandom, really. Avatar, obviously, is my main one, but Transformers would be probably my second favourite fandom. So that explains that. Now, my interest in Transformers Prime obviously comes because I'm a huge Transformers fan. I do enjoy the comics, I do enjoy the action figures, and I also do enjoy the TV shows. And I have been watching Transformers Prime since it began. Season 1 and 2, I liked. I'll do a video next week, kind of with my thoughts on the previous two seasons that have gone by. But the main reason I want to do Beast Hunters reviews is because there's a lot to the show now. Because of the way season 2 ended, it just sets this third and final season up to be really action-packed and have a lot to it, and really that's what I like to discuss. If there's not too much to an episode, there's not much I can say on it. So that's the main reason why I really want to do the Beast Hunters reviews. So I'm pretty much going to get straight into it now. Episode 1 of Season 3, Beast Hunters, is titled Darkmount NV, Darkmount, Nevada. Obviously Nevada being where Jasper, Nevada being where the show is mainly set. Obviously that's where the Autobot base is, now destroyed obviously by the end of Season 2, but that's the title of the episode. I suppose the best place to start is just with why I like this episode so much and why I like where the series is going so much. It's because Season 2 ended so dramatically for the Autobots. They basically lose the war, in that the only thing keeping them in the war was that the Decepticons didn't know where their base was. Otherwise the Autobots were completely outnumbered by the Decepticons because they have all the Viacons and stuff like that. But the base is found, it's targeted by the Nemesis, basically the Decepticon ship, and the Autobots are forced to flee through the ground bridge. Basically everyone except Optimus leaves, and Optimus is forced to stay back and destroy the ground bridge memory, basically so the Decepticons can't find out where the other Autobots have gone and keep the Autobots' hopes in the war alive. And that's why this is such an amazing season, I think, set up, because the Autobots are scattered all across the world, basically. Obviously the kind of kid partners remain the same: RC and Jack, Raph and Bumblebee and Miko and Bulkhead scattered, and then you have Agent Fowler and Jack's mother June being kind of like, I suppose, leaders on the human side. She's more medical, obviously Agent Fowler being military. And just that setup, and like Optimus is assumed dead by the end of Season 2, and everything is just a really bad way for them. So I was very interested in how this episode actually went about opening up the season, and I wasn't disappointed, because I'll start with the smoke screen and Optimus side of the story. It's revealed that Optimus is still alive, and it kind of makes sense that he wasn't completely destroyed, in that the laser that destroyed the base did have to go through effectively a whole mountain. So Optimus wasn't as such hit by the laser, but he was kind of hit by a lot of rubble. So he's really, really badly injured, to the point where he's basically dying. And the episode doesn't as such state that, but I think Optimus saying no hope kind of confirms that. And it's Smokescreen who's the one who basically saves Optimus from basically being found by the Decepticon kind of search team that are searching through the rubble. And that he gets the phase shifter back, and then obviously phase shifts Optimus kind of underground into a kind of cave, and they have this kind of a talk that in this episode just is basically just Smokescreen explaining to Optimus how he kind of came back, and that he went through the ground bridge but came back to help his commander. And Smokescreen, as the newest member of the team, was the most likely to do that, because that's in his character, that he kind of disobeys orders if he thinks he can do something. And that's kind of going to be an interesting one, because if Optimus dies, he's going to have to appoint a new Prime, and I get the feeling that they have kind of set up Smokescreen to be that kind of hot rod character, and that he maybe the newest one, but he has the most potential to be leader. So that may be why they've put Smokescreen together with Optimus in this kind of really dramatic moment. Switching to RC and Jack's side of the story, we see obviously they're obviously separate from everyone else and trying to stay hidden. But Jack really wants to get back in touch with his mom just so he can tell her that he's alive. Because that mother-son relationship is something that I felt the show has actually done very well. From like, yeah, him having to lie to her like early on in kind of season one, her finding out and kind of being overly protective, and then realizing that he's important to the kind of Autobots as well. And now he wants to get in touch with her, and she wants to get in touch with him, and he basically texts her once. That gives his and RC's location away to the Decepticons, and that's Megatron's first contact basically with the Autobots since the end of season 2. They eventually get away again after a really nice action scene using a reference from the episode Loose Cannons in season 2, where Wheeljack basically destroyed a gas station to blow up some people, and then RC kind of uses the same trick again to destroy the Decepticon search party. So that was a nice thing on that side of the story. I think overall with the kind of the Autobot side of the story, they have to switch between kind of 4 or 5 separate plots. So because the kind of opening 4 episodes are going to be the opening arc of the story, you get the sense that it'll work better having seen them all at once rather than like weeks apart in between each episode. Miko and Bulkhead, another interesting one in that they've had a great relationship and that they're absolutely kind of perfectly suited to each other. But Bulkhead is very kind of, I suppose, by the book when stuff is serious, and he sees Miko about to use her cell phone, and then basically nearly splatters her against the windshield, trying to like make sure she doesn't call anyone and give away their position. But she was just playing a game she already had on her phone. And that's pretty much all they have together, and they get the sense that they're kind of there waiting for probably Wheeljack to show up. You know, that's what they're going with. And then the last kind of human partnership is Bumblebee and Raph. The interesting thing here is that Bumblebee switches his color scheme from yellow and black to black and yellow, so he's primarily black now, and he's kind of stealthy, and this allows himself and Raph to basically stay out in the open but not be spotted by anyone because they all expect him to be yellow. And it's just this clever idea about the kind of references to Toyline, and that Bumblebee's always repainted like that. His toy's always repainted in like reverse color scheme, and then just you get the kind of little interaction together where like there's like, how are we going to meet each other, and they're all kind of piling back in towards Jasper to kind of try and meet up again. So that's really cool. And then the final Autobot is obviously Wheeljack. He crashed, was presumed dead also, but I don't think anyone actually believed he was dead. And he actually kind of is found by the Decepticons and taken prisoner after surviving his the jackhammer crash at the end of season 2. And he's basically tortured by Starscream, but he's not giving anything up because he doesn't actually know where they went, because he kind of surprised them with his appearance. And that kind of really adds to this story, in that that's why he never joined the Autobots, in a way. That like, he could help them whenever it was needed, but he could never give away their kind of important plans. So that's a very interesting way to use that sort of character who is on the good team but never actually fully joins them. Really good, really nicely done. Before getting to the Decepticons, who are probably the main aspect of this episode, just a bit on the humans. June, Darby, Jack's mother, and Agent Fowler obviously being the main ones. Agent Fowler basically organizes the military in Jasper, Nevada to attack Darkmount, but the humans are absolutely wiped out. Jasper is eviscerated basically, and you get the sense that without them showing it, a lot of humans died. That's where this show is kind of almost taking it up to a new level of kind of seriousness. The Decepticons are at this stage only in control of like Jasper, Nevada, but really they're kind of almost in control of the world right now, nearly. And they basically destroyed this massive army assault, tanks, like ships and stuff like that. It's pretty crazy. And then he he blatantly lies to Agent Fowler and just like we now that the war with the Autobots is over, we want to be like friends with the humans, but Megatron is not that sort of person at all, and Fowler realizes that. Obviously, June is a nurse, so she's helping with the injured, and that kind of makes sense, being a nurse. And obviously, really cares about her son and wants to know if he's okay. But that's really all there is in that. The episode has to kind of touch on everything a little bit, but it can't really go in depth yet. But what they do go in depth on in episode 1 is the Decepticons. They're kind of at their kind of high note in the war right now. They have basically won. They're just kind of going after the stragglers of the Autobots. They have complete domination, but they're getting frustrated by all these things happening. And the highlight of this episode probably is, Starscream and Megatron. Their relationship kind of this really makes you understand why he chose Starscream over Dreadwing at the end of season 2. In that Starscream is actually a very good second in command when he actually focuses on being the second in command. And Megatron, obviously the typical tyrannical ruler doing all the stuff you'd expect him to do. And then just these little bits with all the other characters, like Knockout is sent on the mission to recover more relics. And that's when the kind of cliffhanger ending of this first episode happens, in that a Decepticon returns, and who is it? None other than Shockwave, who returns from one of the later episodes in season 2, which was a flashback from before the series even started, and that's like out of the past. So, that presents another thing. Like Starscream and Shockwave have a little bit of a history in that. Shockwave is kind of presumed dead after the events of that Out of the Past episode, and you get the sense that Starscream did nothing to help find Shockwave. He was just happy to kind of have a kind of favourite of Megatron's out of the way, but he's back now, and very interesting, because Shockwave is always an interesting Transformers character. Logical scientist, doesn't really have much on the kind of emotional side of things. And it's kind of perfectly suited character for Megatron to have in his ranks. That's really all there is in terms of like the kind of meat and bones of this episode. But I really enjoyed it as a season opener. Again, I'll say, it's clearly one of 4 in terms of like an opening arc of the season, without it kind of calling it a 4-parter. But it had to very quickly cover Smokescreen and Optimus, and the rest of the Autobots all separated. I think the show's going to get better as kind of more of the Autobots meet. You kind of get the sense that like 1 or 2 of them are going to meet up, 1 or 2 are going to meet up before they all meet up again. And it's just going to get more and more kind of in depth on stuff happening. And overall, very impressive opening to Beast Hunters. Probably the best opening of any of the seasons so far. Like, I enjoyed the opening of season 1 and 2, but this was just kind of on that other level because it was that much more dramatic. Everything felt really, really dramatic, and I like that. So yeah, I'm really excited to see the second episode and kind of see what happens. We know stuff like there's going to be a new Autobot character coming into things soon. Obviously, Beast Hunters refers to Predacons, so we're going to see some more kind of evil characters as well. And overall, really good opening, as I said, for like the 5th time. But I'm just going to end it here. Thank you for watching this episode, this review. Please tell me in the comments, if you've watched Transformers Prime, what your own thoughts on the opening episode have been. So thank you for listening, and bye.